You're watching CHCO TV's gavel-to-gavel coverage of the June 3rd, 2025 Special Council meeting for the Municipality of Eastern Charlotte. I'm Florence Mitchell. In this meeting, Council will discuss the Blacks Harbour Water System. So let's join Council at Macadavic Place in St. George.
I'm going to call the meeting to order tonight. Tonight is a special meeting of council with one item on the agenda tonight about the Blacks Harbour Water. What I'm going to do is, at this point, I'm going to look for a motion for adoption of the agenda from council.
I would like to amend this motion, Your Worship. I don't see any spot on there for councilors' comments or concerns.
No, I'm going to add that. I'm going to add that too, plus for the public to speak as well. Too,
Okay.
so I'll make sure of that. So, yeah. So I need a motion.
I'll make that motion to add councilors concerned and open mic for the public.
Yep, that's on there. Seconder, Councillor Lee. Question or comment? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank everybody for coming tonight. First of all, I want to do is I know some of you don't always come to council meetings, and what I want to do at this point is introduce my council. At my far left is Councillor Dedorakis. You want to just give a little wave, Councillor? Everybody. Councillor Hatt. Councillor Thompson, right to my Deputy Mayor Hatt. And I'm going to way down the very end, Councillor McQuarrie. Can you give a little wave here, Councillor? There we go. There we actually got a smile at him tonight. Councillor Lee, Councillor Tidd, and Councillor McKay, and of course our CEO Jason Gadet. Everybody here, I want to start off first before we get into too much. I want to say to everybody here, everybody at this table is committed and consider the water in Blacks Harbour a priority. Everybody at this table. I fully understand everybody's frustration, irritation, and even anger. I even understand that. I and Councillor Hatt live there, and we see it firsthand. But all of council it is a priority, including our CEO, Jason Gadet, who grew up in Blacks Harbour. Does everybody know Jason? Everybody probably know his mom and dad. First and the second of all tonight, I want to apologize tonight to everybody here tonight and those who couldn't make it tonight for not having this meeting in Blacks Harbour. And any meetings in the future about the Blacks Harbour or Beaver Harbour Water will be in Blacks Harbour. Council considers whatever is good for Blacks Harbour is good for Eastern Charlotte. So we want to do what's right for Blacks Harbour because it's good for everybody. At this point, I'm going to turn over to council. What would you like to do? We have one letter that was sent to us. Would you like that letter read out tonight?
I was in correspondence.
Sure. Yep. Yep. Councillor Hatt, would you like to read that, or would you? Sure. Yeah. I'll send it. I'll send it down. You didn't have to get out. I was talking to Logan. Logan's the one that wrote the letter, and I asked him if he'd like to do it. And he said that he didn't mind that we did it. So,
Well, I know one thing. Reading this letter reminds me of 2007 when I was just a young person in the first year of living in the village, and most people remember the front page about our water in Blacks Harbour. So this brings back great memories, and I'm very proud to be able to support Logan Martin's letter. To the Municipality of Eastern Charlotte, we, the residents of Blacks Harbour and the surrounding communities, are writing to demand an immediate freeze on all water utility payments. This freeze should remain in effect until the municipality presents a clear and effective and a permanent solution to our ongoing water crisis. And this solution is approved by both the residents and the council. For years, we have been paying for a water that is visually discolored, contains sediment, and is clearly not fit to drink. Despite numerous assurances and some limited attempts to fix the system, we have seen no real improvements. As a result, we continue to face the financial strain and health concerns associated with buying bottled water, installing filtration systems, and constantly uncertain about our water quality. We firmly believe that we should not have to pay for a service that fails to meet basic quality and safety standards. Therefore, we demand the following: a complete halt of all water billing until potable water is readily restored and reasonably standard. A comprehensive action plan outlining a long-term solution, including clear timelines, transparent budget information, and independent testing protocols. A community consultation process to ensure that the residents are informed and their concerns are handled before any redemption of water utility charges. Until our water is clean, clear, safe for consumption, we will not accept to continue the financial burden for a service that is unusable. Sincerely, Logan Martin, on behalf of concerned residents of Blacks Harbour.
Thank you, Councillor Hatt. I appreciate that. Before we, I'm going to give some information to the public before we begin here tonight, and then I'll entertain any motions or anything that council wants to do. But I need to get some information out to the public tonight. I think half the problem in Blacks Harbour, and it's not the residents' fault, it's probably our fault for not communicating everything that has been going on, everything that is going on, and things that should be going, things are going to go on in the future. So I'm going to try to break down the timelines. I worked on it the last day or so and getting the timelines. And last night I had actually a good meeting here last night with Deanna Hunter. Anybody know Deanna Hunter? Is she here tonight? No, she's not here. Okay. But anyway, Deanna was the former CEO of Blacks Harbour, and we had a good little conversation. She said, "You know, John, this has been going on a lot of years." And I said, "It's something that we've inherited. This council has inherited. It's been going on a lot longer than these timelines that I'm going to give you tonight." But I'm going to go back to 2021, in December 2021. And that is when the village of Blacks Harbour was still there before amalgamation. And Councillor Hatt, you're on that council, and I was the mayor at the time. And we put in in December of 2021, we put a funding application in for integrated bilateral agreement, which is what they call, everybody will say IBA, integrated bilateral agreement. And there's going to be two phases for that. The first phase is an investigation to do preliminary work and construction of a new water source, and that is phase number one. And that is the current project we're on at the moment. There is a second phase, which is also part of this, is the design and construction of the required infrastructure to connect the new source to the municipal water system and disconnect from the private water supply. The future phase contingent on securing a successful new municipal water source. So that was in December 21. At that time, the government gave us the $500,000, $500,000 to do that. Now I want to clarify one thing, because there's been a lot of rumors out there, and I've heard these rumors in the press, is that the province of New Brunswick gave us $500,000 and we put it in our bank account and we spent it on other things. That's not true. How it works is that when OnGlobe does something and they end up giving us a bill, we pay the bill, we submit that bill to the province of New Brunswick, and we get the money back. They don't give us the money up front. Okay, that's how it works. So OnGlobe always gets paid after they show that they've done some work. So that money is that money as of today. I think there was just been two bills so far since they started OnGlobe, two bills, and I think it's probably a little less than $100,000. In September of 2022, okay, this is probably just a little over 9 months later. The village of Blacks Harbour. This is 9 months after I'm going to go to August of 2022, the month before September, and we were told that we got the funding. So that was 8 months after we put in for it. So 9 months in September, the village of Blacks Harbour agreed for the project management is to be OnGlobe. OnGlobe is the engineering company that is taking this on. It's ENGLOBE, in case anybody's writing down notes. In January to May 2023, 3 months to 8 months later, a desktop study completed by OnGlobe on topographic and hydrological survey determining zones for exploration. That was from January to May 2023. That was during the winter months when they can't go out anyway, so they do a lot of the computer work and desktop work from their offices. In May to July of 2024, there was a lot of staffing changes at OnGlobe, and of course during that time amalgamation happened. So a lot of things got stalled during that time because of those two things. From July 23 to 24, the provincial EIA. Now, when I say EIA, it's Environmental Impact Assessment, and the Aboriginal consultation began. May the 14th, I think Councillor Hatt will remember that date, the municipality met with the province in Fredericton on water exploration. Things were seen to us as a council, seen that things weren't moving fast enough. So we, Jason, myself, and Adam went to Fredericton, and we met with Rob Kelly, who was with Regional Development Corporation. The MLA was there at the time, and was there by Zoom. And the room was actually, the whole room was full of different people from the government. They had different people from the environment, different people from all different areas. But the main people was Rob Kelly. And anyway, after that meeting, from June to July 2024, things moved along a lot faster. The EIA file was opened, the Environmental Impact Assessment, that all of a sudden was accepted. October 2024, this is just this last October 2024, just remember this, the Aboriginal assessment was accepted. So it took that long for that to go through. That's just 8 months ago we were able to get that. The Aboriginal assessment was accepted. On December the 17th, 2024, OnGlobe provided updates to Council. On March the 4th, again, OnGlobe came back to Council and provided updates to Council. In March 2025, 2 options were being compiled by OnGlobe. The 2 options are the new water source focused on the zone of application, and the second one is the takeover of the existing water source from Connors Brothers. Both options would compile capital costs for new infrastructure or repair or replace of existing. April 30th, 2025, OnGlobe provided updates to Council again. And May 21st, 2025, just a few weeks ago, OnGlobe was here in this room at a regular council meeting and gave a presentation for the public. So if you weren't here for that, and I know a lot of you weren't, you can go on YouTube and CHCO and you'll be able to watch it again. But they actually did a presentation here just 2 or 3 weeks ago. And I want to thank CHCO for being here tonight as well. As of today, and if things might have changed, because I checked this morning, as of today, in order for us to test for water, we have to go onto properties. You can't go onto properties without permission. And as of today, nobody has given us permission to go on any properties to be able to do the test wells. So that is part of our problem at the moment. I know that people are frustrated, and I can say mainly because you think that nothing's happening. I think maybe we should have more of these types of meetings. Maybe every 3 or 4 months we should have a meeting to try to keep you updated, or if something happens, we can keep you updated. I think in Blacks Harbour would be the best place to do that. I think that's where a lot of where people get upset. If you don't know what's going on, it's like going to a doctor. If you don't know what's wrong, that's the worst part. But if you know there could be a light at the end of the tunnel, I think that takes away some of the frustration. And that's all I have tonight. I'm going to go to council. And what would you like to do tonight, council?
So are we allowed to question the timeline that you just give out, Your Worship? Because there is some disparities in that.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you're open to that, I will definitely clear up the disparities from the council that I sat on's view of that. So we'll go back up here. So the first phase was 500K, right? Correct?
Well, I think.
How would anybody in the municipality know today, other than what little bit correspondence that we've put out inside of the ratepayers? How would they know? I know myself, I found out this week by our MLA that the sign is posted in Penfield at Jackson's, a water source that we do not even own. To me, that doesn't make sense. So First off, I think some communication better into our municipality would be greatly started, Your Worship. Second up, so as of June 3rd, you stated close to $100K has been spent on globe services. So if we go back, and I'm going to go to the deputy mayor on this because he had seen these maps. In 2022, we had done a topological study, and them maps were issued at that time. On a side note, them maps were reviewed with the local ATV club for making an access road to the Grand Manan Ferry, correct? So them maps were open then at 2022 for timeline. We have met with OmGlobe many times. I have brought up these maps, and they have told us that they didn't exist until the last time that we met in a closed session, where I did circulate with council when we found the map in their session. Am I correct? The same numbers and same stats and same dots are on that map from 2022. So when we say we've spent $100K, I'd like to know what we've paid for since 2022. The next part is I was called to a meeting about an EIA on May 14th, 2024. The MLA and many people of the EIA was in that meeting. At that time, it was very clear that there had not been an EIA filed. And Rob Kelly and the staff that was there were definitely reassured that that wasn't done. So it was a huge embarrassment to think that that was done. Once again, that is done on behalf of OnGlobe through the municipality. Just another thing that never got done, in my opinion.
Okay, you say that May 14th was that meeting we found that it was?
Yes.
Okay, I did mention that.
Yeah, you mentioned that we met with EIA because the application was in.
And then right after that meeting, things moved along fast because Rob.
Afterwards,
Yeah, exactly.
when we found out, and then had to put the EIA in.
That's correct.
There's no doubt in my mind, without the help of the provincial government and Rob Kelly's department, we would never had any fire under the contractors' butts to get them moving in the first place.
Absolutely.
So it was a great disappointment to drive to Fredericton and get embarrassed about something that wasn't filed on behalf of our. So it would have been great time for that to be brought up beforehand by OnGlobe. So then we got to March 2024. And once again, can you imagine in Penfield, we can't find water? That'd be like going to Texas and say we can't find oil. So I find it greatly that maybe these people in a engineering company that are billing us for billing hours should maybe put some boots on, because as of April, they haven't even stepped foot on anybody's property to knock on a door, to even look at ground that was opened up. Even so much as around in the north of Jackson's today, there's supposedly not enough water there. So I'd like to know how they do that from a topological map when not putting any boots on the ground. So May 2025, they came to a meeting here in the open public and once again provided the same thing that they provided to us pretty much a year ago, with no changes other than now some questions that we had asked to go back to the spots on the map from 2022. So once again, Your Worship, talk about money, $100K was billed. I have yet to see a breakdown of what they've actually charged us for billable hours, because to me, this seems like a great game of billing hours for no services provided. And I'll be honest, leather shoes and formal shoes coming to this council meeting is not going to find water for this municipality. We need boots on the ground, and maybe people forgot about how to do that. And on the water, you mentioned, Your Worship, that water access or access to people's property is being handled by OnGlobe, correct?
Yes. That's right.
That's factual? That's factual.
I've sent letters and gone
Yeah.
site.
Okay. So as of last weekend, I've had 2 people reach out and say the only thing that they got was an email and asking about coming on their property to put wells in. They're not understanding. There's not a personal conversation being had with that. They don't understand the thoughts of going on, testing wells, and then if there's an access that needs to be put in, then all that gets negotiated. So that hasn't been clear either. Once again, driven by OnGlobe. I know myself, I've lived in the municipality since 2007. I have lived this. I have beat on every door. I have beat on every window that I can. I've gone to Fredericton. I've done all that I can. It is obviously not something that we're ever going to be able to handle from a municipality. And you know what? For the first time in my life, I met with the MLA last Sunday and walked that, boots on the ground with him, as the same as Andrea, our last MLA, did. We walked from the start to the beginning of this so he could get up to speed and understand how water gets to Blacks Harbour and where it branches off to Beaver Harbour. And the first time in my life of being a councillor and being a resident in Blacks Harbour, I'm man enough to say, I beg that man to please get the province in and help us, because we can't handle this. And the council that we have here are the people to get this done, but the On Globe Engineering Company is definitely not the one. Thank you, Your Worship.
Good. Thank you, Councillor Happ. Open up the floor at this point to council. We're just talking about the letter, the communication we got tonight. Councillor Lee, you go ahead.
I just want to, I listened to the letter from Mr. Logan, and you know, I don't think anybody's opposed to cutting water bills back some or eliminating them if you want, but something that I think has to be said for the people in Blacks Harbour also, that's a budgeted amount of money. So if you, and I don't know what that would be, maybe you could help me with that. Was that 100,000, Jason, or more, or less, or?
We do have our municipal accountant here tonight, but.
Well, I just want a ballpark. I'm just going to say $100,000. So if that bill goes away, that $100,000 goes away, that's $100,000 needed to run the town of Blacks Harbour. So that's got to come from somewhere, right? It just doesn't fizzle out and say, oh, that's great, no more bills. When your tax time comes around, that money's going to come back, or something's going to take a big hit in the harbor. That's all I wanted to say. I'm not totally against doing something about the water bills. I want people to be aware that you're going to pay at some point. So that's all.
Okay. So at this point, Council, we're just we're addressing the communication that we got tonight. So at first, and then I want to give Council the opportunity to address the communication first. If there's no other to address that, what I'm going to do is open this up to the. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilor.
On Councilor Lee's point, I would like to know the exact figures. If we're going to do something like that, and if we have our accountant here, like, could we explain what that would mean if we did that? Because somewhere along the line, I agree, it's going to have to be made up somewhere if it can't be taken out of utilities, correct? So I would like to explain how much exactly what that means in a dollar amount, like real numbers. We have our accountant here, so should be able to get those numbers.
You want to add something to it? Do you want to add it? Sure. We have both our accountant and our treasurer here tonight.
Yeah, you can go right to the microphone. You go right to the microphone right there. Yeah, that way the camera can get you. You look good on TV, though, Mike.
I got a face for radio, though. Good evening, everybody.
Does everybody know Mark Porter? Mark Porter is our accountant. He's from St. Stephen. Does a great job, and he said he's going to stay on another 5 years. I think.
I'm an external accountant for you. I'm due to retire next year.
Yeah, he's going to retire.
We'll see how that goes. Anyway, I have been around since 1987. I worked with Deanna Hunter. Anyway, the water issues are just the same as they were back in 1987 when I started. So I guess if you're going to look at it, Councillor Lee mentioned about the rates. Well, each utility, so there's the St. George utility network and the Blacks Harbour network. So they're both separate. People in St. George pay for theirs. The people in Blacks Harbour pay for theirs. And I'm sure nobody in the municipality that doesn't receive municipal water services wants to donate anything towards those. Right? You have to pay for your own well and septic outside the municipal service areas. So if you were going to, I don't know, different options have been out here. So if, let's say, for instance, you were to cut all the billings for Blacks Harbour's utility, well, be good for people for a year, but somebody has to pay for the employee wages. You got to pay for your power bills. So I'm not sure what the options are, whether you shut off everybody's water at curbside, because if it's not any good for anything, otherwise people are using it for something. So it's always been those same issues. My wife complained at me the other day because she turned on our taps and the water was all brown in St. Stephen. But happens periodically for whatever reasons. So if, okay. I know that's an issue, yes. Okay. Yeah.
And I change them every week.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna get the.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, one second.
Okay. So,
Ladies and gentlemen, just give Mark a
right.
chance to speak, and then everybody else
Yeah.
will.
So-
Everybody, I'll guarantee you, everybody will get a chance to speak
yeah.
tonight. So.
So let's just say, for instance, you were to cut everybody's water bills by 50%, including the commercial customers, because they have the same issues. So, let's say you cut, let's say $200,000 was what you gave as a credit towards the utility users. So, unless you're going to lay everybody off or half of them and cut back to bare bones, you have to get that money somewhere else. So, the only other option is to borrow for operating purposes. So in the utility, you can borrow 50% of that budget for operating purposes. So it would be a one-time thing. Then, in future years, those Blacks Harbour utility users would need to repay that plus interest. So, maybe your bill goes down by $200 this year, but it's going to have to go back up the next year. It's a short-term solution. And, so you cut your bill down by $200 this year. Let's say for the next, 5 years, it'll be maybe, math here. Maybe it's going to be, let's say, $80 higher than what your actual bill is now. So that's the consideration. It's not fixing the problem. And in my opinion, which isn't worth very much most of the time, so if you were going to do something with that money that was coming in, keep directing it towards improving the water quality. That's what council has been doing. I know they feel for you just like I do, but everything you're required to go through that government process, and Lord knows everything in government takes years to fulfill. So you got the grants to go and do the exploration with very little cost to the municipality. And if a water source is identified, then the province and the federal government will need to kick in money because the municipality cannot pay for that development. So, hope I sort of clarified everything.
Any questions from council? Wait a second. I'm gonna go to council first to ask Mark some questions. Try to keep this orderly. Is there any questions from council? Councilor Hatt, you first.
Thanks, Mark. So you said about the project cost of money. Right now, that project, I understand, funding is around 95, 96%. Is that correct?
93.67, I think.
Okay, so
Or
out of that,
96,
we might as well say I give you tell me it cost $100, the province is coming up and the feds are coming up and it cost me $7,
Yep,
right?
roughly, yep.
So I think we should make sure we have that picture right, that's not a whole $100 bill that the municipality is going to have to put up for that is literally cents on the dollar.
It is. And that's the cheapest you'll ever get.
Absolutely. So the end of the day, I really believe that's very carefully on understanding, because I noticed this week there's some hubbub about finances of things. But I also think that we need to be clear that the funding today is in that 90+% being paid by the provincial and the federal government. So I just want to make sure I clarify that.
Any other questions from council? Yeah,
And I guess just to add, Mark, these aren't rules of the municipality. These are accounting
Oh,
rules and
for
financial.
the borrowing for utility operations?
Or, yes.
Yeah,
right,
that's in the
yes.
act.
That's right. These are all acts
Yeah.
that, that we are all bound by, every municipality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And every January, you approve the operating loans for operating funds for both the general and the utility, so.
Okay, at this point, if there's no questions from council, if you have a financial,
I do have one more.
okay.
So we talk about utility. Utility means water and sewer. What is the water portion of that bill? Let's not clarify.
Can't tell you that off the top of my head.
Well, no, hold her here. We're having numbers that says utility. So is that the water number or the sewer water and water that was being quoted here tonight? Hard to give the residents a true favor of what that number is. We've quoted a lot of big numbers here, but we actually don't have what the water part of that bill is. I would challenge the municipality to get that.
I don't have my working paper files, the auditors have them, so.
Can I ask a question?
Oh, yeah, Councilor Dederakis, you're next.
But Mark, would it be possible we could find that information to find
yes.
that? Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so we can find that out. Perfect.
So the numbers that were quoted here aren't correct, just so everybody understands.
Which numbers are you talking about?
We said that $400 of the water utility, that whatever we pay is 400,000. You quoted a number, 400,000. We can rewind the video back. I'm sure we can find that. Yeah. Yes. So wherever that number's coming from, somebody must know where the math is.
Oh, for our budget for utility.
Yeah. Is that water and sewage?
Yeah, it's around 400,000. That includes water and sewage.
So today's water meeting, this letter was a week ago, asking to pause the water billing was the key wording many times in this letter, and we do not have that fax for the residents tonight on a specific special meeting that we called.
So it's an estimate around 75 for 3 times a year.
$75?
75,000.
75. Do we know what that is per house, per billing cycle? I'm asking that I could get that number.
It's 65.
And that
16
doesn't include the industrial either, sorry, shouldn't have been in it.
165.
Anybody in finance, chime in.
So 165.30 is just water? Just water. And that is 3 months, 4 months? Each bill. So once again, 165.30 is the water bill only, not sewage. I want that on the record to make sure. So once again, these are numbers. I'm saying if we're going to go back, we need numbers. Yeah, no. So thank you, whoever that was, for clarifying that, because I want this to go on the record. Whatever we state at this meeting tonight is the meeting number that we're going to use. We've had a week to have these facts. Do we have them tonight? Okay, can you please release them numbers? Thank you.
So average annual cost per household for Blacks Harbour Water Service is $248. Wastewater is $248, which is $496. There's 19 users. Nope, sorry. Yeah, it's 248 for water service, 248 for wastewater service, and it's 496 annually for both. And there's 919 users.
So for water, $248.96 is the annual charge for the water bill side only for residential. Going once? Okay. Going sold. What is the water bill for commercial side of things? Is that a rate or is that used? Okay.
Okay, at this point, you got those answered, right?
I'm still waiting for the residential we're waiting for the commercial one.
want to thank Chris McKinnon. Chris McKinnon does a great job in our office, and he's helping out here tonight. Everybody know Chris? Yeah. Does a great job. While we're waiting for that answer, I'm just going to fill in the void here. I want to thank our public works crew in Blacks Harbour. They do an awesome job. Ricky Levitt, Frank Richard, Neil Leakvold, Jamie Melanson, Chris Lord, Norman Lambert. They work tirelessly. Every time there's a water break in the harbor, they work weekends, they work nights, they work in bad weather and muddy weather, and sometimes dangerous conditions, and those guys do an exceptional job to keep the water on. So I can't thank them enough. I tell you that weekend I got a call at 6 o'clock in the morning and said, John, what's going on with the water? I said, why? We don't have any. And they worked the whole weekend, the guys did, the whole weekend to make sure that whole neighborhood got water. And you couldn't ask for guys that were more dedicated than those guys. And they stayed right there the whole weekend, ruined the whole weekend with their families and everything else. I was down there with them. Jason was there the whole weekend too. I didn't spend the whole weekend down there. I did take him down donuts and stuff like that. But those guys, I couldn't believe how well they work, and they're cool when they work. Like, they don't get all worked up. They know what they're doing, and they do a good job. I just stay the heck out of the way when those guys are doing stuff. So we can't thank them enough for what they do for the Blacks Harbour area. I'll go to there you go. They deserve a round of applause. Absolutely. I'm just doing a fill in the void here. Okay. Was there an answer? Yeah.
So as far as commercial, I don't show a commercial listed. I mean, we do have a commercial rate, but it's just not showing. So the residential rate for tonight.
Okay. So if my math's correct, and we have the accountants here, for the residential side of 900-ish, so I use 900 rate payers, that would be $18,672,000 a month. That's what the money bringing in is. So is that all just cost? We don't pay for our water. We just...
It's solely all cost. I mean,
Okay.
budgets don't have no revenue lines or anything like that, or profit lines. This is all... A budget is always budgeted to the cost expense.
Because that works out to being $20, $21 a month per house for a water bill. That's what it works out to.
Okay, at this point, I'm going to go to the public if they have any. This is just questions for the finance part of it. Okay, we have for Mark's here, so he's up at the microphone. If you have a question for finance only, stand up, put your hand up or whatever, and just tell me your name and civic address, and then we'll take a question just on the financial side of it. Everybody shaking their head? Okay. Everybody understand so far? We'll have a test in the morning, okay? If not, thank you very much, Mark, for doing this, and yeah, and I really appreciate it. You know something, it's a beautiful night out there. We probably should have had this on the weekend where it rains all the time. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to the public. I promised that we would give you a time, and we'll give you 5 minutes each to speak. It has to be on the water issue, and all I need from you is just your name and civic address, and just go to the microphone. Don't worry if you mess up, because it's on TV. We can watch it. We can watch it again later.
I'll be on YouTube tomorrow.
Good to see you tonight.
Blooper reels. My name is John Paul Blanchard. I live in 694 Main Street, Blacks Harbour.
Just down the street from me. There we
Just
go.
down the street from you. So first off, I want to say thank you to Mr. Adam Hatt. I know that he's probably holding back more than he's probably feeling, because he feels the frustration of the general public within the Blacks Harbour region. I will also state that I'm trying to stay calm during the conversations as well, especially of the people who do not live in Blacks Harbour. You don't have to face this. Making the comments that they do is very challenging because they don't recognize the severity that we're facing today. So I have with me 2 filters that I just changed about a month ago. I change them on a monthly basis because if I don't, my water pressure drops down to almost nothing because the mud just plugs it up. This is mud, guys. This is a filter. It just comes right directly from the village water. It's mud. That's what we have. If you drink it, you got to go to the bathroom within 5 minutes. That's reality. I'm fortunate that I have filters to make my water clear. Many don't. Many are not that fortunate. And they have to live with that discolored water for many, many, many years. And, you know, I look at, like, I go down to the fire station and I see how it just looks like iced tea. It's disgusting, guys. It's disgusting. And how we haven't dealt with this yet blows my mind. You know, you say that you're working on it, but you're standing here, you don't even have your facts straight. Our counselors don't even know what's going on. You're saying, well, you know, everything's being worked in the plan. No, it's not. You're hiding something from us, and we don't know what it is. We're getting misinformation from people around us. We're trying to make up our own solutions of what's going on. That's not right, guys. I know that you're saying communication has to get better, but I think that, you know, what we're recognizing is tonight is that there hasn't been a plan. There's not a plan. It hasn't been written on paper. If there is a plan, you're not following it. None of us know it. None of the counselors know it, clearly, right? That's a problem, guys. That's a problem. We're spending a lot of money on water that is garbage. And what we're saying is we're standing up and we're saying enough's enough. Enough is enough. I'm sure everybody here feels it. Enough's enough. This should have been done 10, 15, 20 years ago, you know? But here we are standing here talking about the exact same thing that I heard 10 years ago when I moved away. Exact same conversations. You know, when are we going to get off our butts and do something about it? Clearly. That's clearly. All we want to know, you know, it's not about the money. We all pay it. We suck. It sucks. It sucks. You know? And honestly, I'll be honest, I refuse to pay the last 4. Because what's the point? You know? Because I'm not getting anything for my value. And then you look at it, you say, okay, well, we have a plan. All we want to do is see the plan. We want to know from A to Z, how long is it going to take? Is it going to take 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Where's the plan? And you tell me that you haven't even dug for wells yet? You don't even know the location? 15 years, you still don't know the location of where a new water source is going to be? That's insane, guys. Insane. And I appreciate everybody here. I hope you know that. I just want to express my frustration. Everybody here, frustration tonight. It's frustrating because we can't, like, how is this safe? I don't even know how you guys get clear water samples, to be honest with you. Like, this can't be safe, guys. It just can't be safe. I feel bad for the kitchen. Like, man, they have to serve clients. They're trying to sustain themselves while dealing with this mess. It's insane. That's all I got. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hopefully I don't sound too upset. I do appreciate everybody on this table. I know you guys work hard for us, but you just have to understand the frustration that we're feeling as residents. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Here's Donna P.
Pay attention.
Great to have you here tonight, Don.
I'm Donna P. Moses. I live at 16 Fundy Drive, and I've lived there for over 30 years. And to put this in perspective and to let you all know how long this has been going on, 30 years ago, July of 95, I had an infant, and I was trying to prepare his formula and sterilize his bottles, and all I got was brown scum on top of the boiling water. And I wrote a letter to the village council, and somehow, I don't know how, I still don't know how it happened, it got published in the St. Croix Courier. You never seen a mother proud of a kid than mine was of me having something published in the paper. That was 30 years ago, exactly. We are facing even worse conditions on this day in 2025. And all the money that you throw out, that you talk about spending and doing this and doing that, where's the money going? Because it's definitely not going to improve anything. No improvements have ever been made in 30 years. That's a little bit, unforgivable. For as many councils have served those years, there's nothing to say you've done anything to improve. Or even to put out on paper that this is what we did. There's nothing showing that you've done anything. That's the frustration I feel. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, Donna.
Hi, I'm Patricia Vieira, 871 Main Street. I just have a few questions about hygiene of the infrastructure. I quickly just Googled about water towers. May I ask when the last time the Blacks Harbour Water Tower was clean and sanitized?
Yeah, it is due. It's definitely.
When was it done last?
We have it scheduled for the end of this month. So
when was it done last?
June. I don't know really. I mean, every 4 years it's supposed to be done.
Yeah. Well, I'm
So-
reading right here, right off dear old Google. At least once a year or more frequently, depending on water quality and local regulations. Some guidelines suggest twice a year, particularly in areas with high sediment levels or during the spring and fall. So if this hasn't been cleaned out in a long time, I can just imagine about 5 feet of sediment in that tower.
Yeah.
Likewise, the pipes. When were the pipes cleaned last in Blacks Harbour?
Yeah, we go through flushing,
Flushing is not cleaning pipes.
cleaning. Okay.
Flushing has nothing to do with cleaning pipes. And if the pipes are old in Blacks Harbour, can you imagine? Like even your sink drains clog up, you can still get water through it, but you got a lot of crud going through. So the tower, the cleaning, the most recent boil water. After boil water, to my understanding, flushing should be done. Was flushing done? I didn't see anybody out there doing flushing after last week's boil water.
Yep, there is flushing to happen. I mean, we didn't want to put ourselves into another boil order.
When?
No, it's coming.
This is
There
what
is some flushing
I
that
think
happened.
everyone wants to know is like,
Right.
what is the maintenance schedule? What is the routine? Is flushing supposed to occur every other month? When? That's what we want to know is how clean is this? Our water source may be clean coming in, but going through and traveling through all of these infrastructures, it's not clean. Does anybody else want to know when things were cleaned?
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Madison Hutchinson. We live at 40 Farm Road. We're new residents to Blacks Harbour, but I've grown up here my whole life. I was raised in St. George, very proud to be from here. I spent a lot of my kid years and teen years in Blacks Harbour, playing sports, seeing friends. My mother worked in Blacks Harbour most of my life. We are very familiar with the water issues in Blacks Harbour. I was not aware of how bad they were residentially when we bought our house about 2 years ago, 2.5 years now. We were very excited to move into the community. We were happy to be closer to our families. We have a young son. He just turned a year old. We're welcoming another child in October. Very similar to your point, I could not sterilize his bottles. I could not make any food. I don't make food for him with our water. We're very lucky. My husband's parents both have wells. We travel once a week at least to fill water jugs from their wells because we do not use our water. It is brown. There is dirt. When you take a glass of water out of the tap, there you can see the dirt in the particles. I am not willing to give that to my son. I'm not willing to consume it myself while I'm pregnant with my next child. I don't understand why we're expected to use that for our children, for ourselves. It's not healthy. And my husband and I have discussed it, and it is one of the main reasons why we will be moving out of the community when we are able to. Like, we were very excited to buy this house. I was very excited to live in Blacks Harbour. I love the community. I am going to be very sad to leave it, but that is our reality. I'm not willing to put my children's health at risk, nor mine, nor my husband's. And I think that's a lot of frustration that a lot of young families are feeling, especially those maybe not from the area who didn't even know kind of what they were walking into like we did. So that's just what I wanted to say, just our two cents as a young family in the area.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on your next child. And I know it's not easy to get up in front of a packed room, so thank you very much for that.
My name's Rebecca McNally. I live at 836 Main Street in Blacks Harbour, and I also own the restaurant there. Okay, like I said, this is 1 week from one filter. That's when it comes in. This is 1 day from our second filtration system. So it goes through 2 filters before we even try and put it out to our people. If I'm making soups, I go to Hooper's and fill up water jugs because even this, after this, it still comes out discolored. We didn't know the water situation when we moved into the harbor 5 years ago. So not knowing, we put in a hot water on demand system. It cost us over $5,000. This past winter, we couldn't use it because it was so jam full of sediment, and we get it cleaned once a year. It's obsolete now. We were closed for 3 weeks. At Christmas, we had many bookings cancel because we couldn't do anything about it. We lost over $20,000 in sales just those couple weeks. Every time there's a boil water order, we close because we cannot guarantee that someone's going to come in and say, you know what, I don't believe you followed the protocols properly. I got sick. So rather than being sued and having to shut everything down, we close down. So every time we close down, that's $1,000 a day just to us. Not to mention my staff who rely on working and the people of Blacks Harbour because we are the only restaurant there. So, yeah, so that's what I have to say. So every 3 months, every month, we change the porcelain filter. That's $125. Every week, we change the other filter. That's another $20. So on top of paying for water at Hooper's, which thank you very much for supplying Blacks Harbour with drinkable water, Hooper's. Totally appreciate it. And Adam, thank you so much for fighting for us. I appreciate that. Like, I cannot ever say anything that is higher praise for you. Like, you're my hero, honest to God. And the rest of council, I don't know you very well, but thank you for everything that you do. But above paying for the municipal water, we probably pay another $200-300 a month. Not to mention, like I said, the $5,000 that we lost on putting in a hot water on demand system. And now we pay a monthly fee for hot water tanks because why put in another hot water on demand system? Why get it fixed properly if we're just going to have to throw it in the garbage? So I am extremely frustrated. Had I known that the water was so bad, we wouldn't have bought. We wouldn't have bought in Blacks Harbour. We had many other opportunities and we wouldn't have bought it. So that's all I have to say because I'm getting very heated and I might cry and I don't want to. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Going to give everybody a chance. Anybody want to come up? I know it's not Betty. There we go. Take your time. There's no hurry.
I'm hurrying. I'm Betty Stewart, and I live at 570 Main Street.
and I was just wondering how old some of those pipes are. I have heard a lot of those pipes have come from the airport when it closed. Is that true?
Yeah, there was some repurposed pipe on the distribution line that feeds the harbor, exactly.
Pardon, I couldn't hear
There
that.
was, yeah, there's some pipes within the system that are,
Would that make a difference with the water?
yeah, I mean, it's certainly, you like to have new pipes. I mean, they're
I mean,
galvan.
those pipes are 60, 70, 80 years old.
Yeah, exactly.
I lived across from the airport, I know. So I was just wondering, would that make a difference with the water?
They would need to be replaced, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Betty. Thank you. Anybody else? Somebody thinking about it? They're not. Okay. If there's oh. How we doing?
Some of the ladies got some questions they're afraid to ask, so
Oh, no,
I might ask.
You go for it.
Ian McClatchy,
Ian,
125 Wallace Grove Road, Blacks Harbour.
Nice to have you here tonight.
Thank you very much, John. Been there since '89, and I think it's the last, but maybe 3 at the end of the line for the water. What do you think, John? Maybe 3 more? Something like that? Top of the line. So everything that most people get, I get it 100 times more. And I'm normally a kind of quiet guy, you know. Most people that know me, I don't say too much. But over the years, it's just progressively getting worse. And it's quite evident. You guys are here. You're doing a good job to a certain point. The plan, you don't have it. People are asking when you're going to have it. You don't have this, you don't have that. My good friend, the accountant, said, well, if we cut this, we'll cut that, some has to suffer. Well, you can't live without water. I don't care if somebody's plowing the street and they have to walk crookedly through some ice and snow, they get over that. And you can't get by without water, and we need it. You're all Canadians, same as I. There's Walkerton, there's other places in Canada that's had problems with water. What happened to them? They got them fixed. So if you people need everybody in Blacks Harbour, Beaver, wherever, to put the boots in the ground and go to the government and fight and protest to get it done, maybe that's what we have to do. Because it's quite evident that you guys have been doing like this, and you haven't moved forward one iota. And it's time to stop, regroup, and get a plan, and put the plan to the public. Why is there a reluctance to talk to the people, such as I? We're not going to eat you. We just want to know, because it's frustrating. Many times I thought about spending my own money and putting a well in. Oh, well, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's tiresome when you're at the top of the hill. Sometimes it's good to be at the top of the hill, but in this instance, it's definitely not. And I mean, the pipes, we talk about them, press. Everybody knows they're garbage. They're past their useful date. They're no good. The engineers that's retired and live in the harbour in Beaver Harbour, they've known this for years. And you guys know it. And we need to do something about it. And it's not the fact that people are coming here to apportion blame to anybody that's sitting there. Mr. Hatt shouldn't be the one to be pushing it and whatever. It should be coming from all of you, not from him. And for you to come here, he's come here tonight and whatever, I'm sitting back there with a group of people and we're all like this. I mean, you had time to do something and get a little plan. And for me to sit back there and listen to the accountant tell me we'll have to do without something, well, do without a lot. But I'll tell you what, I bet you won't survive a week without water. So you say, oh, they're using the water for something. Yes, we're using it for the only thing it's good for, flushing the toilet.
Yeah, thank you, Ian. Okay. Anybody else like to get up?
Your worship, could I be excused from the table?
No, you're part of the council. You should be staying at the table.
Okay, don't worry, I'll find something on this Robert's Rules of Order that will make sure that you can let me leave. Just give me a few minutes.
Okay. Anybody else from the audience would like to get up and speak? If not, what I'm going to do is go to council at this point and give councilors an opportunity to speak on the issue. So I'm going to go to the deputy mayor first, to my left.
Wow. As Mayor Craig has stated, we've hired experts to find a solution. I cannot speak for them, but feel the work and time put into this must be a way more difficult problem than what any of us can understand. Trust me, we're trying our best. Councillor Hatt may be the most vocal, but we're all on your side. Adam's passionate to a fault, maybe? Would that be a good?
That's all right.
Yeah, but perhaps it's time to look for a source closer to Blacks Harbour. I don't know. We've tried. We've listened to experts. We put multiple hours sitting in meetings trying to find an answer to this, and we're scratching our heads like you, I guess. Sorry, guys.
Great. Councillor Thompson.
It's been a long time since I've been in Blacks Harbour, but you guys had the best drinking quality water around for a long, long time. I remember when they first chlorinated it, how it changed the taste of the water down there. You guys deserve water. There's no reason why we can't get you that water. For whatever reason, it's come to a stop or a slowdown or a standstill, we will get it moving and get you fellas some water. I'm not sure how long it's going to take, but we will work towards the goal of getting you water. Thank you.
Go to Councillor Hatt.
Well, seeing it's to me anyway, I'm pretty sure I could call a vote on ruling by the chair and let council decide whether I was allowed as a taxpayer to speak or not, but we'll leave that for another day, John, if we want to play politics. At the end of the day, I'm going to stand, Your Worship, or I'm not allowed to do that.
No, you can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for the permission to stand. 30 years, we heard. 30 years. I've been in the harbor since 2007. We heard 30 years since we couldn't have bottle prep of babies. Not possible. Where in the world is that right? We asked, there was an individual, a lady come up that owns another business in the harbor. The last time that was the tower was cleaned, right? So you take, for 2 years we had living heck inside the municipality, and I don't have to speak to anybody in here. We all know when the line was broke out on the farm and we did nothing but suck dirty brown water into a system for a matter of 16 months, time that happened. So yeah, absolutely. Is the system dirty? Yep. Have we flushed it? And Your Worship, if I could ask the CAO, what did our Ricky, we might as well say, Public Works Foreman, say when he flushed it the first time this year when finally we were allowed? Filthy. Probably the worst he ever seen, is what I was told. So, at the end of the day, I think there's some major things that we have to do, and we have to be in control of things. The water tower, are we allowed to shut that off and clean it? I'm asking, today, are we allowed to shut the water tower off and clean it? Will industry allow that?
I don't know, I've not talked with industry.
I would say tomorrow morning we should look at that. That will be coming in a motion. Flushing. Did there not go an email out from council last week asking for flushing to be done when the fix was there? You can answer, or the worship can. There was, wasn't there? So, the other side of it is, during peak production seasons, if we have a break in the water line, do we have the power of shutting the water down and doing flushing during peak production seasons? No. Okay. So we're not really in control with anything here, is what I'm trying to get at, to be honest. So we just heard from the kitchen, $5,000 in 2022, now destroyed, $5,000, poof, gone. We're worried about $20 a month for billing though. Now destroyed, and they had to go to a monthly system to have it. She said that $20,000 in sales was lost. That doesn't mean that that was complete loss. That means lost income. That means lost business. That means lost people coming into the harbor. That means losses of a lot of things because people are working there. $1,000 a day just on the last one. I don't know about you, but I couldn't support a business with losing like that. And Becky, my heart goes out to you. And my phone is there anytime that you want to call. $200. Now she is charged $200 a month. I eat at the restaurant weekly. I've yet to see the bills go up in that restaurant. So it's obviously she's covering that out of her own revenue that she makes. So at the end of the day, I know I have been on council for quite some time. Past Village, Blacks Harbour, and I can give a little bit of peek on why this water project was brought forward. And if you would like to fact check this, I can greatly share the numbers of this. 2007, I did a demonstration at council with a bunch of water bottles and an Excel sheet, all greatly detailed. Actually, I think David Mahar's in the background. He would have remembered that back in the day. At that time, I was told that I was not allowed to give that presentation because it wasn't on the agenda. And that council back then, in support of David back there, allowed me to have that on the agenda. The CAO at that time knew that it was going to be a racket, and I understand that. Rackets is how things get fixed. That's how we learn, that's how we move forward at the end of the day. Fast forward to shortly after 2007, there was a $1.4 million infrastructure that Rick Doucette, and I had to apologize, I don't remember the MP at the time, announced inside the municipality of all the distribution lines inside. So the main, like 6-inch, 4-inch, the big ones. Is there still some branches that need to be fixed? Yep. Is there still lines in the ground that we have no idea that are even there? Absolutely. Is that acceptable? No. So, go back to 2020. We all know what happened, COVID. Everybody likes to blame stuff on COVID. I don't think COVID really affected this, but hey, maybe that's a blame in this. I went and called the MLA at that time, which was Andrea Mason, and we had a meeting, and I said, did you know that Blacks Harbour's water source is not a protected water source? It's one of that I only understand at the time, maybe Alma was the other one at that time, that the municipality did not own and it was not protected. I reached out to the MLA, she looked into it, within 3 days got back to me and said, you are correct. I said, how can we look at getting that water source protected? And at that time, the process started. Local government got involved. They came down, they met with council at that time. That's when, 2022, the kickoff was of the water project and was to be studied. I will say today, we made one mistake back then, and it was hiring the engineering company that we've had. That's fine. They can be mad with me tonight announcing it. I have lost every little bit of hope in that company of getting anything. For the last year, there has not been a formal update with any growth. Does anybody know what the hardest thing and the most expensive thing is to be earned? Anybody in here got an idea? Correct. Do I think I would trust anything to do with the water system today? No. Guess what? Matter of a second, it's gone. So at the end of the day, I'm going to make a couple motions here whenever His Worship feels that it's the time. One will be to look at reduction of the payment of water, now that we actually know what that cost is. Two will be to remove OnGlobe from the engineering company. Three will be to admit we don't have the manpower, we don't have the expertise, and we definitely damn well don't know how to do this. So my third one will be to ask a formal letter filed through our MLA to the Minister of Local Government that this is a bigger project than we can handle and we need help. And last but not least, don't ever think that you're bugging me when you send me a message, call me, fetch me up at the store, fetch me up at the restaurant, fetch me up at any place. Listen, the only way we get this better is that we continue to be together. And remember, we are one team, and I'm here for you.
Okay, at this point, Councilor Hatt, what I'm going to do is take one motion at a time. If you can just back up and just go slowly through each motion, and so that way that Chris can get the exact wording of it. So start with number 1.
Your Worship, I will put a motion on the table that we pause for 30 days the water bills until there is a formal plan presented here in 30 days to the residents of Blacks Harbour. And if no formal plan has been made at that time, it will be paused for another 30 days until there is a formal plan.
I need a seconder for that motion. Okay, Councilor, I heard you. I didn't look up, but I heard your voice, Councilor Tidd, to second it. Good. Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Give Chris some time.
Yep, absolutely. No, that's no problem.
I just want to read it back. The motion that council pause for 30 days. Oops.
A water utility only side of the bill.
So the bills went out.
I'm sure
So
somebody.
how do you
in
pause something that's, the next bill isn't until September?
I'm an electrician. I'm not an accountant, so I'm sure there's an accountant here can fix that and make sure that we can figure that out at the end of the year.
Pause for 30 days, billing for water use only, correct?
Correct.
Until there is a formal plan presented to the residents of Blacks Harbour. And if no plan at the end of the 30 days, will be paused for another 30 days to allow time for the formation of the formal plan, or
Correct.
presentation of the formal plan.
Correct.
Okay. And that was seconded by?
That's seconded by Councilor Tidd.
Thank you.
Good, thank you, Chris. Appreciate it. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Councilor Hatt, number 2.
Your Worship, I'm going to ask a motion that with council, as soon as possible, that we meet and discuss the future of the consulting company and engineering company that we have hired today. That if nothing is going to change within the next 30 days, we look at termination of that contract.
Second motion is that council meet to discuss the future of the consulting engineering company. I'm actually going to name them as On Globe in the motion, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, that'd be all right.
Absolutely.
And that if, this is the part I'm not sure on, if nothing is completed within 30 days?
Correct.
So no outstanding tasks
I would
completed,
ask
or-
that they get their ass to the table.
Yeah, okay. Within 30 days to look at termination of the contract.
Correct.
Okay.
We have a motion on the floor. I need a seconder for that. Councilor McKay. Question or comment at this point? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Number 3.
Number 3 would be that I would ask that we write a formal letter, and that would have to come from you, Your Worship, that says to the province of New Brunswick, to the local government, that we need help, that we are incapable of dealing with this situation in a timely manner, and we need their support and expertise, and that to be done within 30 days.
Can you read it again? Sorry.
I would ask that His Worship, on the behalf of council, would write to the province, the Minister of Local Government, stating that we are incapable, yes, incapable, of seeing this water project on a timely manner, and we need their help and expertise.
Okay.
Within 30 days.
Do you want to read that
Within
back?
30 days? That's what I'm doing, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, yes, take your time. I'm not hurrying you.
It's easier when I don't have to go back and forth.
Let's get you a chair there.
This motion is that Mayor, on behalf of council, write a formal letter to the Minister of Local Government that we need assistance as we are incapable of seeing this project completed in a timely manner and requesting their help and expertise, and that the letter be written within 30 days.
Correct.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor. I need a seconder for that, Councillor Thompson. Question or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary, and that's passed unanimously. Number 4. I think there was a 4, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
This one may not need to be a motion, so Your Worship, I will ask, I will read what I want, but it may be a more of a thing that we need to do as a council and municipality. I would ask that Your Worship write a letter to the company to sit down. I don't want to name the company, industry, I should say, I'll back up, that we write a letter to industry to sit down with council and to come up with a plan on how we are able to work together, transparency, openness, and be able to look at flushing and better communication of when we have problems in our water system. i.e., if there was a break, we need to know as soon as possible. And I would ask that that happens within 30 days.
You said that is a motion?
Do you think it needs to be a motion? You guys are the ones that... I'll make that motion.
No, okay, good. Thanks, sir. I'm just going to wait a second for Chris to make sure he has it down.
You should warn me if I need to stay up here.
I could have typed them up for you and sent them earlier.
That would have worked.
That probably would help.
Yeah, there is a spot where I'll need you to catch me up. So that the mayor write a letter to industry to sit with council to come up with a plan on how we're able to work together with transparency and
how to operate the water system and any time that there's maintenance that's needed.
if there's and maintenance.
Yeah. I.e. breaks, flushing, etc.
Right. If there's a break, we need to know ASAP, and then again, the letter be written within 30 days.
That's correct. We have a lot of industry, actually.
Yeah. So at this point, Chris, I'm going to have to ask Chris to read that back for council, if he could.
We do, but they're going to give it to us, right? They're sort of giving that to us.
Not that I know of.
Read back the full motion, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, that'd be awesome if you could. Before I get a seconder, I just need to
Yep.
make sure we're clear on the motion. That's all.
So this is a motion that the mayor write a letter to industry to sit with council to come up with a plan on how we are able to work together with transparency, how to operate the water system, and when maintenance is required, that council be told ASAP, and the letter be written within 30 days.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. I need a seconder for that. Councillor Thompson. Okay, we have a seconder as Councillor Thompson. So at this point, I need a question or comment. At this point, I'm going to Councillor Ted first.
And if we can make that for all of council too, like when it says council, all of council should be there.
Correct.
Just stipulate that. So we're all on the same page.
Sorry for not making it plural.
No, just so we're all on the same page.
Yeah. So did you get that change?
Amendment, yep. Write a letter to industry to sit with all members of council.
Gotcha. Okay. Any other questions or comment on the motion?
I have a question on that on that motion, sorry.
Sure. You're the one to
So, depending on the motion, how it goes one way or the other, the next part of that will be, is the municipality will be developing a SOP that'll be how we communicate to the public and how we can do that and what outlets that'll be. So, there will be another motion coming if that is successful, Your Worship.
Any other questions or comment on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously.
Number 5.
He just told us.
Your Worship, I would ask, now that the motion has gone forward within 30 days to figure out how we're all going to work together, the next people that need to know is to develop an SOP on how everybody in the residents of Village of Blacks Harbour or Beaver Harbour that are anybody that is affected by the water source. Do you need me to stop for a second?
I'm fast, but you're fast.
I've had some time to think about this.
Okay.
That we develop the SOP to notify the residents in a timely manner, i.e. if we know that there's a break in the water line, they should be known as soon as we know, or when we have the direction on to be able to do that. As in the last break. If we know there's a break and we know that it's going to be cut open, then we need to let them know that most likely there will be a boil order or something of that effect coming. I need an SOP developed to cover that. Or a policy, whatever you two that are the policy writers think. That is the last motion I have, though, Chris.
I'll help you with that.
Okay, so this motion states a motion that an SOP, for those who don't know, that's a standard operating procedure, is developed so that all residents in Blacks Harbour or Beaver Harbour or anyone affected by the water source be notified in a timely manner. For example, residents are made known when council knows or when council is aware of direction being taken.
We have a motion on the floor. I need a seconder. Councilor Thompson. Question or comment on that motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Contrary, and that's passed unanimously.
Your Worship, if I may have just one more minute.
Oh, absolutely. Cool,
Residents, I do want to say you have a good council. I said that the last council meeting. These guys and girls that I sat with at this table care. And I will guarantee you that after these motions will be made, that will be direction to the office that these get moved along. So I want to thank you. Sorry it took this long. And I want to thank council and every member that's on here for supporting the residents of Blacks Harbour.
Councilor Dedirakis. I was just waiting a second, Casey.
I don't know if I can follow up on that. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone that came this evening and shared your frustrations and experiences. You're lucky to have Councillor Hatt as your representative to advocate on behalf of you. But that's all our, it's not just a one-man show though, right? Collectively, we're working together to make it, to inevitably find, not inevitably, sorry guys, I'm just thinking about so many things. We're gonna be working together to find a solution. First, I want to address one speaker. Madison, you shared a really touching story because I'm thinking about I remember there was a windstorm back in 2023. We lost electricity for like 1 week. I think, not 1 week, sorry, it was just a few days for us. But in those few days, I had just had a newborn and I was frantically finding ways to boil water. I couldn't make formula. So in your situation, your household, it's an entirely different ballgame. You're not waiting just a few days, it's every day. And that breaks my heart. And I can't imagine how helpless your family feels. Like I've said at many meetings, I wouldn't bathe my baby in this water. I wouldn't prepare formula with this water. The municipality needs to find a solution as soon as possible because we can't expect the affected residents to drink this water. The last thing, I wrote a quick little memo. This is going to take some time. It's going to take money. We know this. There's not much to say except it's a bad situation that we shouldn't be in, and we need to do much more. So, thank you.
Councillor McQuarrie.
Let's see. This ain't gonna be pretty. I moved here 27 years ago, and until I got on council, I didn't have a clue about this water system. Never heard boo one word about it. But since I've been on here, there's been nothing but gossip, chitter, chatter, bitching and complaining, you name it. So, I'm glad Adam's taking the, more or less the lead role in this because he lives right there. So, I'm glad he's got the reins on it, so I'm all for it.
Councillor Lee.
You're right, Wayne. That wasn't pretty at all. But anyway, I want everyone to know here, we all feel the same. We do care, and it is frustrating. We have felt your frustrations for the 3.5 years we've been on council, because it comes up every council meeting. A lot of our working meetings, we spend a lot of time working on it. Yeah, and I agree with you. What we're doing, the plan, we do have a plan, but it is not working, so we need to do something different. And one gentleman, I think it's Ian, is that your name, Ian? Yeah. Suggested, the same thing as what we're going to do now with a letter to the province. Take it to the province. And I can tell you, coming from, I know an old politician, I've known him for years, and when groups go to Fredericton, they listen. That's a big statement. So that will go a long ways with helping us do our job if you're up there too. So it doesn't take that many people to stand on the legislature lawn and demand clean water. I mean, I would be there too. I mean, it's just frustrating. I wouldn't want the water you have. And we want to get it fixed as soon as possible. So don't think for 1 minute that the rest of council don't care, because we do. That's about all I've got to say about it.
Councillor Tidd.
Well, I would like to thank everybody for coming out tonight. Being from Blacks Harbour originally and being on council there some 36 years ago, yeah, quite a long time. Not giving away my age. Back when I was on council, the water was not such an issue. Actually, I think it was just starting to be chlorinated at that time or shortly thereafter. Unfortunately, here we are some 36 years, 35 years later, and we're still having a problem with water. A lot of that is, I agree with Councillor Hatt, the communication between industry and councils of the past and present hasn't been good. I think we need to come up with a plan. I'm glad there was a motion put on the floor tonight to help aid in that, because that's very important. Let's face it, the source that we have where we're getting our water right now is a good source, there's no doubt about it, but the lines coming in, not so good. So again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out, and I fully support those motions.
Councillor McKay.
I also want to thank y'all for coming out. Your stories were moving, very moving. And you're right, I have no idea what you people are going through. None. When I go to my tap, I have clean water. My water's clear, I can bath in it, I can shower in it, I can wash my clothes in it. So I have no idea. But I see your frustration, and I know I would not ever want to live that way. We live in 2025, and it is a human privilege and right to have water. decent water. And in an area like this, you should have decent, drinkable, safe water. And I am appalled that it has taken this long for you people to have proper water. I am not, this is my first time on council. I don't claim to be some great politician. I don't know the ins and outs of politics, but what I do know is I care. I care about each and every one of you sitting here. The lady that got up and did her Google search, that was right on. I'm glad you did that because those things should be happening. And we're in the wrong when those things are not happening. So I don't know what the plan will be moving forward, but I'm with Councillor Hatt, and kudos to you, Councillor Hatt, for fighting for your riding. I appreciate it. I appreciate what you've done, and I agree with Councillor Hatt. I've said it before. I would not ever want to sit on a council with any other members than these members that I sit with here, because they are great, great people. And there's been some miscommunication and maybe some misinformation, but I guarantee you we are all on the same page for wanting you people to have clean, safe drinking water. Thank you.
Just to finish up tonight, I'll just echo what most of the councillors have said, that it is all of council. They are a group, and they are on this together. There's not one councillor, it's eight councillors here that all are committed as is being a top priority for Eastern Charlotte. What's good for Blacks Harbour is good for Eastern Charlotte. At this point, I'll look for a motion for adjournment for tonight. Councillor Dederakis, and I consider that closed for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for coming out.